All right, hey, it's Ed O'Keefe, and thanks for requesting the 25 steps to creating a transformational, super profitable, big payday live event. And I tell you, I just wrote 12 pages on this document, and I thought I was going to just give you one page with a checklist. And then as I started diving in there, I'm like, man, there's so much to explain and so much to teach on this, and I want to make sure I give it the right way. And so what you're going to find when you go through this, there's going to be a couple things. One is some stuff's going to be like just straightforward and obvious. Some stuff's going to be a little more advanced, and you're going to be like, I have no idea what he's talking about, or I could never pull that off. So let me just put you at ease for a moment. If you could implement a couple simple things early on in a live event, and let me back up. The first thing you got to do is get clarity of your offer. Like, we want to get clarity of what is the purpose of this live event, right? We're not running live events to educate people, to send them off into the universe without more support, which would be your club or your mentor program, or working with your service, whether you're a financial planner, dentist, mortgage broker, any of those high-paying professionals. This model works extraordinarily well. I was talking to one of my dental clients yesterday. He reached out to me, hired me to do an interview with him, and he's doing live dental implant dinners. And he told me last month he added 14 dental implant cases to his practice at 4.5 times return on ad spend within the first month. That's incredible, because he's going to see new patients for the next 18 months on big. That's what happens with big cases. It takes a little while. Some people are like ready right now, and then I gave him a bunch of ideas on, hey, listen, bro, we gotta do the interview. We gotta get a postcard out to them. Every time you have a success story, you gotta mail it to them. You gotta be in their face for the next 6 months, bro, because now you just invested that big chunk. You don't want them going to some other dude when they're ready, right? And that's a big thing for all of you right now, just so you know. So that's one thing, is like, this is working. My other buddy, can't reveal his name, they work behind the scenes as partners on 5-day challenges, and they're doing a few million a month right now. A few million a month right now. Unbelievable. Killing it. And they're not even, and here's what's funny about this, guys. I asked him a bunch of questions, and he's like, Ed, you don't even realize how they have certain things dialed in, but they're not doing so much. So there's magic in that. Like, they're doing the important part right, and they're just not doing everything. They got the offer dialed in, they got the market dialed in, and they're just continually getting better and better and better. So that's number 2. So the live events work, and I would argue that if I was going to say, what can you do today to grow your business faster than anything before? And I talked to this yesterday with Dr. Mark, because he's like, well, the second one didn't work as well as the first one, and the third one we're just kind of organizing. And I'm like, Mark, listen to me. This could be your thing, that this is all you do to get clients or get patients. Like, and you could pick another niche, like sleep apnea could be your next niche, and then this could be your niche. You could be running 4 of these a month if you look at it as a system, and then you're just jamming away. If you want to do 1 day, 3 day, 5 day challenges, you could be doing 1 a month, 2 a month. Pick 2 different niches within your thing, and just build out a team. I can help you with this. This is like the stuff I'm so excited about and passionate about. I love speaking. I love helping your potential prospect to reach the highest version of themselves, and I want to see you reach the highest version of yourself. The way you do that is through the skill set development of being able to master the language and art of crafting an offer that sells. Okay? Now, I always challenge this. It's a great new language I've been using with a lot of my clients. I'm like, listen, the reason you're struggling with getting more clients is because you're afraid to get sold to as a client. You're not investing in yourself to keep learning these things. And so when somebody sells you something, you get like, oh man, what's this? But listen to me. When I'm encouraging you to do things, I'm doing this for you because I know that in 3 months and 6 months and 9 months and 12 months, when you've been doing these small little live events, virtual or in person, small groups are fine. You'll be able to grow into big groups. You'll be a different person. The number one fear in the world is standing in front of an audience and speaking, right? I'm not afraid to do it. Do I get nervous every time before I go do it? Absolutely. Does it get me excited? But as I think it was Kobe Bryant said it before unfortunately he passed away. He said, if you're not nervous, what are you doing? Why are you even in the game, right? Like, you got to be doing it. It's got to be exciting for you. So I want to stretch you. I want to push you. I want to get you out of your comfort zone to challenge you to look at the checklist, see what makes sense for you, see what doesn't, right? Some of the advanced stuff, I talk about music, I talk about, there's a little bit advanced, because like music should not seem like it's advanced, but it is advanced, because most people, I walk into most rooms and I'm like, they're totally jacking up the music. The music is all over the place. Engagement early on, taking control of an audience early on, so critically important, right? And then there's the idea, I was explaining to a client yesterday, I was saying, look, when you're from the front of the room, you have to do things in the format of big group, right? Big group, smaller big group, 1 in 3, groups of 3, groups of 4, and then you could do one person next to them. Now you could build them up the other way too, is like just turn to your partner there, and you can do that, but it's got to be sequenced. The other thing is to realize that if you want engagement, when you're like doing the hand raisers, you see the pros do it. Like hand raisers, like how many of you came here from, how many are interested in making more money with your blank, right? And nobody's raising their hands because they're all feeling awkward. So how do we get there before then? Well, we layer in like, oh my gosh, all these people came from all over the country. Look at my hands, they're out wide. All over the country. Let me see who came from the East Coast. Okay, let me see who came from the West Coast. See, those are low threatening questions, right? How many came from the Midwest, right? Do I have any Canadians here, right? Like, okay, where are the Canadians? Oh my gosh, I know you guys should be embarrassed to raise your hands. Haha, funny, funny, funny. Who flew over from Europe? And then you should have your team figure out like who came the furthest. Even when I run a local event, who drove the furthest, who drove 90 minutes while everyone else drove 15? Get them a microphone. Why'd you come from Australia? And then what you're doing is you're building in a testimonial. Why? That guy invested this much to be in my room. All the people who invested less are like, wow, this room must be really valuable. I wasn't even gonna come. Think about that. Those are advanced strategies. Like that should be layered in. So when you go up there, you're like, hi, let me go. And then I talk about the testimonial panel. Talk about how it should be structured. The other thing that's very, very important here is that when you run a live event and you're gonna sell something, you absolutely have to have a testimonial panel, but you don't just give them a microphone. You absolutely need to have structured questions. Look, who are you? Should be less than 1 minute. Why did you choose to work with the expert? Should be number 2. And they should be embedded. They should know that you're gonna ask them that question, okay? And a lot of times what we wanna hear is, well, because I've tried other things, I've done other things, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with other people and I failed left and right, blah, 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 blah. This guy's the real deal. That's how you get a testimonial out of these people without sounding cheesy. Third thing is, it should not be you handing the microphone on a testimonial panel. That should be somebody like myself. It should be a wingman, pitchman, who knows how to read a room, structure a room, and make sales for you. And so you, the guru, should be over to the side of the stage that is their future. I talk about that in one of the lessons. There's a side of the stage that's people's future. It's on the right. It's on your left when you're facing the audience. It's on their right when they're facing the audience. That's the future. 90% of the population look left to right. Left is their past, right is the future. So we want the guru over in their future. And so I'm on one side of the stage, interviewing these guys, handing microphones, facilitating, pulling, okay, yeah, you came from Arkansas. Well, da-da-da, why'd you fly from Arkansas? There's the reasons, da-da-da-da. Why'd you choose him? What would you tell your best friend about name of expert? Let them talk. Unbelievable. Well, I would say he's one of the nicest people I ever met. He's not like this rich da-da-da person. He's humble, down to earth. We'll go to the end of the world. I'll tell you a personal story is my wife and I were experiencing an issue with something. I called him. He responded on a Saturday. You know, I mean, he just goes above and beyond for people. Why? Because that embeds in other people. Look, I'm not going to be left alone, right? That's a belief system we got to shatter in that. So that's how you actually do a testimonial panel the right way. Okay, now open the kimono, success story sessions, sell big ticket, lead to big paydays. Very important, right? So the biggest thing is that if you are doing a virtual event, live event, one of the things you got to understand is that they don't want to hear your voice the whole time. Self-belief that it's going to work for them is probably, if not literally, the number one objection that they're going to face in their entire life. Like, I mean, it's great that this guru can do it, but I can't do that. So by having open the kimono type stories, which are past clients, existing inner circle if you run a mastermind, or existing clients that are paying the highest premium dollar that you possibly can, that you're looking to lead them into organically and naturally, they are going to be on your seminar schedule to do 15-minute presentations with a very specific topic. They are not there to talk about your inner circle. They're there to actually teach the audience. But there's a structure in that. That structure looks like this. Hey, here's who am I? How I was in your seat a year ago, 2 years ago, and why I got there, and how I failed at everything else that I was doing before. Here are 3 strategies that have worked like gangbusters for us that I can owe directly to the name of the expert. That's what they say, the name of the expert. I can, so-and-so could be me. Ed showed me this exact pathway to it, and let me give you them all. And so now your environment is filled with giving, more successful people and the people in the audience. And then guess what the people in the audience do? It's like, there's no ego here. I want to be a part of this tribe. So if you want to bang out and get your tribe established organically in the room, that is the best way to do it. Have an open the kimono success story sessions. I believe you should do 4 or 5 or 6 of those in a 2 to 3 day seminar, and should be layered before the pitch. Okay. When is the best time to pitch your seminar? Or no, when is the best time to pitch your big ticket coaching club, personal mentoring program, when you're running an event, right? So I'm going to address 2 things, if it's virtual or live. So on a virtual, if I'm running a 3-day one, I have to begin the pitch on day 2 organically. So, hey guys, before we get started today, see, anytime you use the language pattern, before we get started today, it allows people to relax and get away from note-taking mode. I wanted to bring up a few questions that came in yesterday. People are already asking about our Platinum Mastermind. I wanted to hold that off to the last day, because I know as you get your first clients, as you create your power offer, as you invest in your first real estate home, whatever it might be in your niche, you're going to want mentoring and guidance. I totally understand that, and I understand why you want it so fast. See how I'm like pushing off, and they're the ones asking for it? And the people that aren't aware yet that they should be asking it are all of a sudden like, oh, I should be asking about it. And the people that haven't asked yet are now being like, yeah, I've been wondering. So you see your win-win-win, and you're bringing them all together into a conversation. So the best part about what we're going to talk about today is that it sets you up for like XYZ, but I'll address some of these questions now, and then I'm going to talk more about it tomorrow. So you could, relax and just enjoy a few minutes. So now here's how we work and get results faster for people. And the reason why we created it was because most people that were coming out of our virtual events were experiencing this problem, and this problem. Does that make sense? And those are good problems. Here's why those are good problems. Because if you're actually doing what we say, you're going to experience fast results. When you experience fast results on this, and you get your first deal, you get your first client, you get your first whatever, it doesn't really matter what the first thing is, like in your niche. But it's very, very important on this, because now you're going to have a couple other things that are going to come up that's not going to be covered in this 3-day virtual training. And here's what those are. Boom, boom, boom. Now, it could be something similar, like, well, if I'm selling $5,000 virtual coaching, one of the things just might simply be like, well, how do I run a mastermind? How do I create a $15,000, $25,000 offer? That could be like a question people ask, right? If it's a weight loss thing and they just you're helping people lose weight, the next question they're going to be asking is, how do I get, what supplements should I be taking? How do I buy them at a discount? What nutritional plan? So to hold your hand on that, this is what we're going to have provided for you, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. It's more of an 8-week one-on-one, whatever your pitch is on that. Now, I got to tell you today, it's exceptionally expensive for a lot of people. Now, the reason I'm saying those words, it's exceptionally expensive for a lot of people, is because it's an anchor that's going to punch them in the face a little bit, but they're naturally going to think it's more expensive than what it is. Okay? And if you want to have a lot of installments, which I recommend, you then use another language pattern of saying, but the good news for some of you is that if you're not ready for that exceptionally expensive, more touch, we actually have a budget-proof level that allows you to get financing, and you can put on a payment that's comfortable with you. So just stick with me for a second. And then you can go into like all the benefits, like 3 or 4 or 5 core benefits of it, and maybe even embed the case studies. Like, let me talk about so-and-so and so-and-so who were part of the opening of the kimono. And the reason why that pre-frame pitch happens, you're doing the whole non-sales pitch, and you're then, by bringing it back to the kimono people or the people that will be on the panel, like Shirley's going to be up here later, and when Shirley was sitting in your shoes, she'll tell more about it later. See the way I'm doing here? When she was in your shoes, she had every reason not to go into inner circle. And so my framework on this is that I said, hey, Shirley, here's a couple things to think about. You want to accomplish X, Y, Z, but your problem is your current economic situation, right? And you think you're just going to solve this on your own, but you really want to get there as fast as possible. So I'm going to advocate on your behalf, and I'm going to tell you all the reasons why I truly believe that you're going to be a massive success by being a part of our inner circle. And I get concerned about you being outside of it. So I'm advocating for you. So you see how like that small little shift becomes, and it's better when you can use a testimonial in the room. Like, I'm going to point out Susie. So Susie was exactly where you were. And I could have told her 100 ways not to join the club because of, her kid was going off to college. She just got done with a divorce. Her son was getting married. And she had all these reasons not to join, but she did it anyway. And if we didn't afford her the opportunity and offer that to her, would we have been doing her a service or a disservice? Well, it's a disservice because now she's doing millions a year. Her life's totally transformed. She was able to write a check last month for her kid's college. You see what I mean? Like, so we go into pre-framing and start languaging these things. Now, there's other advanced strategies on that, but I think that's good enough. So that's on day 2 of 3. If you're doing a 5-day event, I see no reason why you shouldn't open up some conversation about that early, day 3. And then the pitch begins on day 4 because you're going to do a Q&A on the whole training. Plus, you're going to do a Q&A wrap up on the pitch that you did on day 4, if that makes sense. In a live event, the challenge with only running 2-day events. Now, I'm not saying don't do that. The challenge of not running 2-day events is that you don't have a day 3 to clean up. Okay. So the pitch on that, usually the concern I have too is that if I wait too long and I'm focused only on just dumping content on them, the problem is that you have a lot of people that are going to be tired and be overwhelmed, right? So one place you could put it, highly recommend, is before lunch on day 2 if you only have a day 2 one. Before lunch, okay? That's early in the seminar, okay? So that means that day 1's got to be dialed in. If you don't have that capability, then you would do it before a break in the afternoon, okay? Probably around 3 o'clock. The challenge you run into about that time lot is that if you're only running a 2-day event, you're going to start losing people to the airport. So there's got to be something Tuesday night that keeps them there, right? Could be, a charity reveal. It could be a party. Could be whatever it might be. So you see what I'm saying there? Sometimes clients have a day 3 where only platinum members are there. You should have an only platinum reception on day 1, exclusivity, the only way you get in there, so that, and then they all pour in, non-inner circle members are invited there at like 8 o'clock. So from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, it's only platinum, 7:30 or 8, then all the non-ones show up and they're gonna be like, wow, what have we been missing? Well, you're not in platinum, so you missed that, right? And so these are just some of the ways. Now I talk about anchoring, I talk about that music, I talk about enrollment. So those are all important. And then like I said at the beginning of this, the offer is everything. And so what we got to do before we even structure the schedule for the event is look at the offer. So much to talk about here, so much to share with you. So hopefully this was helpful for you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you letting me kind of ramble. I didn't realize how excited and passionate I get about doing live events, virtual and or it doesn't really matter. I love the human connection until a client needed a lot of help with it recently. And I was like, oh my gosh, why am I not helping more people with live events? Because it's the thing that every time I look at when we've done 7 figures in a short amount of time, it's always been from live events. High 6 figures, 7 figures, live events. And so live events can come with a lot of risk. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't do them. So there's ways to mitigate those risks as well. Maybe I create a worksheet on that one as well. So that's it. If you want more of this stuff, let me know. If you want help with being a wingman pitchman, where I help structure your whole event for you and coach you through the different elements to sell your mastermind or your inner circle best, please reach out to me. Just Eddie at Ed O'Keefe Live, or you could private message me and just put in there and be like wingman, pitchman, or something like that. Just think Larry King meets Billy Mays, which a lot of people don't know who Billy Mays is. He's only the best infomercial pitch guy in the world, and Larry King's the best interviewer in the world. Now, one more thing I want to say with this is the reason I learned all this. I'll tell you, like, my journey on this is I've hired an expert by the name of Tim Paulson for $50,000 when I was running Dentist Profits to help me kind of structure my pitch for my coaching club. I had 100 dentists come into my event, and I was like, man, I want to make sure we hit a home run. Now, $50,000 sounds like a lot, but if you're selling a $25,000 package or an $18,000 package and you do it wrong, it might cost you 15 sales at the live event. We added, I think, like 60 people at like 25K. So do the math on that. I mean, it was just what just completely blew up my business in a good way, was structuring that whole event crazy. I mean, I still remember getting to near the end of my pitch and people were standing up, running back with their order forms, ready to buy. And there's so many advanced tactics that go into that in order to have that happen. Joe Bauer, I hired him twice to come to my events to help set the stage. He sold a software thing that we were promoting. And I mean, again, like, the guy was just incredible. There's just different styles. Like, Joel's style gets people so emotionally, come on, honey, you go. People emotionally revved up that if they don't, oh, there's my daughter. You can say hi to everybody, Juju. Get over. We got to teach her how to speak on camera. Come here, quickly. I'm in the middle of teaching. Say hi. Say, what's your name?
I'm Julia.
Are you destined for great things?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds really congruent, really excited.
Yes!
And then I hired James Malinchak a few times to be a guest speaker, but his job was to speak and kind of run the wingman pitchman model. So I have those three people I worked with, and then for years I worked with studying NLP trainings, and then I ran accelerated learning stuff for teenagers, and that's where I got my chops for like actually facilitating a room, because you could teach scripting and stuff, but that's where I learned facilitating. When you got 120 teenagers that can't sit still, and you got to facilitate we were running 5-day camps, 5 and 7 day camps, unbelievable, super camps. The distinctions on communicating to make sure they learn in a way that gets them the best result was pretty powerful. Okay, so you notice I just use silence there, and I'm using pauses. So those pauses then allow people to come back in and focus. Most speakers just talk too much. So anyhow, I can ramble on this stuff. So anyhow, if you need help, let me know. Enjoy this document. If you have questions, let me know. I got to add to this document. I want to get to like 50 tactics and strategies that you should use as a checklist for every single event, because frankly, this will make you more sales. This will make you more money. This will make you a better teacher. This will make you a better leader at your company meetings. This will make you a better client communicator when teaching things. When I talk about the anchoring, emotional states, enrollment, like all of that's good for teaching and making sure people walk away feeling like they integrated and felt good about it. So have an amazing day. Hit me up. Appreciate you. Love you. And go get them. All right, bye.